In the very beginning, before anything existed, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was empty, dark, and shapeless, and God's Spirit hovered over the waters. Then God said, "Let there be light," and light appeared. God separated the light from the darkness, calling the light day and the darkness night. That was the first day. God spoke again, creating a sky to separate the waters above from the waters below. That was the second day. On the third day, God gathered the waters so dry land could appear. He called the land earth and the waters seas. Then he commanded the land to grow plants, grass, seeds, and fruit trees, each producing according to its kind. On the fourth day, God placed lights in the sky, the sun to rule the day, the moon to rule the night, and stars scattered across the heavens. On the fifth day, God filled the waters with fish and sea creatures, and the sky with birds of every kind. He blessed them, telling them to multiply. On the sixth day, God created animals, cattle, wild beasts, and creatures that crawl. Then he said, "Let us make human beings in our likeness, to rule over the earth." So God made humans, male and female, and blessed them to multiply and care for all creation. He provided plants and fruits as food. When God looked at everything he made, he saw it was very good. Then came the seventh day, when God rested and blessed that day as holy. This is the story of how God made heaven and earth. Before plants fully grew and before humans worked the ground, a mist rose from the earth and watered the soil. Then God formed a man from the dust and breathed life into him. The man became a living being. God planted a beautiful garden in Eden and placed the man there. Trees of every kind grew, including the tree of life and the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. A river flowed from Eden and split into 4 rivers, Pishon, Gihon, Tigris, and Euphrates. God told the man to care for the garden and warned him not to eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. God saw that the man needed a companion, so he brought animals to him to see what he'd name them, but none was suitable as a partner. So God caused the man to fall into a deep sleep. He took one of his ribs and formed a woman. The man rejoiced, recognizing her as part of himself. They were both naked but felt no shame. The serpent was the most cunning of all animals. It approached the woman and asked, "Did God really say you must not eat from any tree?" The woman explained they could eat freely from all except one, the tree in the middle of the garden. If they ate it, they would die. The serpent told her she wouldn't die, but instead become like God, knowing good and evil. The woman saw the fruit looked good and desirable for gaining wisdom. She ate it and gave some to her husband, and he ate as well. Suddenly, their eyes were opened. They realized they were naked and made coverings from fig leaves. When they heard God walking in the garden, they hid. God called out to the man, asking where he was. The man admitted he was afraid because he was naked. God asked if they had eaten the forbidden fruit. The man blamed the woman blamed the serpent. God declared consequences. The serpent would crawl on its belly and face hostility from humanity. The woman would face pain in childbirth and struggle in her relationship with her husband. The man would work the ground with sweat and hardship until he returned to the dust. God made clothing from animal skins for them. To prevent them from eating from the tree of life, God sent them out of the garden and placed heavenly beings with a flaming sword to guard the way. Adam and Eve had 2 sons, Cain, who worked the soil, and Abel, who tended sheep. Both brought offerings to God, but God favored Abel's offering and not Cain's. Cain grew angry, and God warned him that sin was waiting at his door, but he must master it. Cain ignored the warning. He took Abel to the field and killed him. God asked where Abel was. Cain replied, "Am I my brother's keeper?" But God already knew. God declared Cain cursed from the ground. Cain feared being killed by others, but God placed a mark on him to protect him. Cain left God's presence and lived in the land of Nod. He had a son named Enoch and built a city named after him. Generations followed: Enoch, Arad, Mehujael, Methuselah, Lamech. Lamech married 2 wives and boasted about killing a man who wounded him. Meanwhile, Adam and Eve had another son, Seth. Seth later had a son named Enosh, and during that time people began calling on the name of the Lord.